Hello and thanks for staying with us. Welcome to Political Platform on Repower Radio, as well as Africa Independent Television, AIT. My name is Amechi Anapwe. The federal and state governments have resolved to take immediate measures to reduce transportation costs in their respective states, particularly intrastate fares. The federal and state governments are to establish a joint committee to implement the measures, with President Bola Tinubu setting October 1, 2026 as the target for Nigerians to begin benefiting from lower transport fares. The president says vehicles running on CNG, compressed natural gas, can spend between 60 and 80% less on fuel than petrol-powered vehicles, insisting that cheaper fuel should translate into cheaper fares. The development comes against the backdrop of the renewed debate over petrol subsidy, following former Vice President Atiku Abubakar's resolve to remove subsidy if elected president. Now, President Tinubu on Thursday also met with governors elected on the platform of the All Progressives Congress at the State House, Abuja. It is presumed that the issue of fuel subsidy and how protests are managed were up for discussions. We will analyze the growing debate around fuel subsidy as campaigns for the 2027 presidential election deepens. We'll be joined by Bolaji Abdullahi, the National Publicity Secretary of the African Democratic Congress, ADC. In the meantime, ADC's presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar has continued to roll out his manifesto, and not long after stirring the honestness with promise to reinstate petrol subsidy if he wins the presidential election. Atiku on Thursday hinted of his plans to open up closed Nigerian borders, citing the negative economic impact it has on the northern front. We'll be weighing in on all this. My colleagues are with me, Uju Ejeye and Shola Jasimi. Welcome to the program.
Good morning to our viewers and listeners, and thank you, Amici.
Okay, and let's start with the latest pronouncement by Atiku Abubakar. Whenever he receives visitors, he releases a policy pronouncement. Recall the fuel subsidy issue. It was when a group came to meet with him that he made announcements that indeed that will go. And again, another group came to visit him at his residence in Abuja on Thursday, and he announced that he will open up borders that were closed because it is having negative effects on our economy. Take a listen.
The northern states is bordering about Cameroon, Chad, Niger, Benin Republic. And you close all those borders. All our young men who are doing trading in between these countries, they carry goods here across, they do this, and all the, what we call trans-border trade is a legitimate business. All the upcoming young men and women who used to have a capital of 10 million, 20 million, and they were employing 2-3 other people, and then all of them went bankrupt and unemployed. How can there be security? So I said, I'm going to reopen the borders, and I will. During the last campaign, I went across to Europe to discuss with shippers and ship development companies, how can we together develop South and Southeastern ports so that there is balance as far as importation of goods and transportation of goods are concerned.
Atiku Abubakar, this is candidate really not manifestos. As we concluded on this program some days ago, we hope to see all the candidates on a platform so that they will debate on policies. Atiku saying, I will open up eastern ports to indeed attract some businesses there. What will President Bola Tinubu speak to that? What will be speak to the issue of reopening of the borders? At some point, Muhammad Buhari, then president late now, closed the borders. He wanted Nigeria to be self-sufficient in food production, in certain, for certain cash crops. At some point, they were reopened, but recently, after the coup in Niger Republic, the Tinubu administration also closed the borders again, perhaps as part of the economic sanctions. Atiku Abubakar saying here, I will throw them open because it will enhance cross-border trade, which impacts positively on jobs, at least on the Nigerian side.
And he was particularly about the North. Well, it depends on the reason for which the borders were closed. If you look at the three governments, talking about the Buhari administration, he had a good reason to close the borders because he wanted Nigeria to be self-sufficient. It is a good aspiration, but then what did you put in place to ensure that? What were the policy decisions that would make that intention to succeed? I do not think that we had that. We still have it up to now. And then you look at Tinubu, who decided to close the Niger border. He also had a point because it would not be right for democratically elected governments to support military military juntas, if I may use that word, juntas, And then Atiku says he will open up the borders. But the first thing that came to my mind, honestly, is, are the borders actually closed? I have been to the north. I've been to several parts of the north. The borders are very porous. They are not closed. I remember when I stayed in Daura for almost a month, the walking distance between where I was staying and, where the Nigeria border is, it's just a walking distance. And what did I see? 2 drums and a long stick across the road.
That's an immigration post or customs post.
Exactly, and that was the post to say, look, you have left Nigeria, you have entered Niger Republic. And it's like that in a lot of the parts of the north. So if you say you want to open borders, I would say the borders have been open. If you talk about insecurity, yes, but again, the borders have been open, and we have seen Chadians, we have seen Nigerians and coming into Nigeria. Some of them
even
allegedly,
Arabians,
yes,
we do see them.
exactly. Some of them allegedly taking on the identity of Nigerians and perpetrating evil across the north. So he should be thinking of how to tackle that. As for opening the borders have been open. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe
let's see whether Shola.
Sorry, the only border that that was closed that I would say really affected Nigeria, maybe the Benin border, because we have a lot of trade relations from that axis.
A lot of trade relations on all sides, actually, depending on the volume. But I'll go straight. I was looking at the former vice president, the candidate of the African Democratic Congress. Looks very healthy. Looks so much like he has his cognition and cognitive issues very, very intact.
Yes.
That's good. It's almost the same age with Donald Trump, who is also 80. And I like it when people who are seemingly older are on point. I love it. I like to see that.
Very agile.
Yes, it gives me a lot of confidence that age is nothing but a number. But going back to the specific of what the former vice president and presidential candidate has said, Uju touched on it slightly. I'm going to emphasize it. This candidate is really doing a lot to appeal to the votes from northern Nigeria. A lot. The first statement he made, he spoke about it. And he spoke to, that policy pronouncement came on the Hausa service of the BBC.
That's the fuel subsidy removal
Exactly.
promise.
So this one now, he has said we will not have to open the northern borders. So it's about policy, politics, and how this will impact and bring votes in for him. So Atiku knows the target because he has looked, and Atiku is a strategist. He has looked at what happened in southern Nigeria. Many of the governors who were in the opposing party, his former party, the PDP, at least 6 of them, ported to the APC. So seemingly, they've joined President Tinubu's camp. The South is, quote, sorted for President Tinubu, quote, in quote. So where do I do?
It depends on what part of the South you are referring to.
No, look at it across board. Just look at it across board. Is it Cross River? APC, move to APC.
Akwa
Ibom, move to APC.
Bayelsa.
Bayelsa, Delta, Edo. Okay, Edo is APC. Everybody.
That's if the governors are the determinant of voting pattern.
No, the thing is this, that this election will be heavily monetized. Heavily. So people know they are going to spend money. So if these political blocks and political leaders, well, however we may term it.
It's been there.
So Atiku knows where he's headed.
So what you're saying in effect is that Atiku Abubakar understands that his strength lies in the north. So he has been making statements that, targeting and appealing to voters in the north.
Additionally, Atiku Abubakar has traditional allies in the south. But many of them now, they're also looking at political survival. So, and they've tilted to the APC. Because if you look at the dynamics of it, this is a man who has spent he built bridges across. We said it on this program. This is a man who, through the PFN, when he inherited it from Shehu Musa Yaradua, the former general, and he also PDP.
The PDM.
Yes, PDM, which became,
People's Democratic Movement.
Yeah, PFN was even the earlier one in 1988-89, if you remember. So he has lieutenants, he has colleagues, but this is a game of numbers at this point. So this is policy. It's strictly, or this is pronouncement. It's strictly appealing to the northern votes. Young people have opened the borders, but has he thought it through? Those are real questions. Do you know the import of you just making pronouncements of throwing the borders open? Around us in this Abuja, we have people, they have our voter card, they have our driver's license, they are Nigerians. And they tell us pointedly that, I come from some. When you ask them where, they say,
Benenua. Don't they also infiltrate into Nigeria, assessing all this?
So this pronouncement has a lot of weight. I wish that former Vice President Atiku Abubakar had thought it through before saying it, because some things are heavy. Security implications. Did he think about that? Key question. Foreign policy. Did he think about that? Or you just curry to the Chamane junta in Niger Republic so that you can get votes? And all those who have gathered our voter cards, who have gone back home, close to election,
so it brings up this issue of national interest, personal interest, and party interest. I've done a lot of study in the past. Even within the United States, the White House, there have been several times where the White House position contradicts that of the State Department. That's the equivalent of U.S. Foreign Ministry. Because a sitting president would look at a certain development somewhere around the world and says, if I take this step, it will benefit me in the next election. But it may not necessarily benefit the US.
It might not be the American foreign policy thrust.
Yes, so the State Department when they push out statement and take position, it represents the US interest. But when the White House does so, it represents the president's interest. So we are seeing it here. And every candidate in the Nigerian presidential race would indeed make pronouncements, be religions, though we try as much as possible to underplay it, be it ethnic, which we have tried to underplay here, but I'm afraid it may not stop them from doing it, at least covertly, to garner votes and attract sympathies.
Well, if you're a good businessman, you go to where your business sells best, or where your investments would thrive, and politicians are smart people. They know, like from the analysis that Shola gave on part of what you've said, he knows that most of his votes, should come from the north. Because when you talk in terms of population, the north has population, although some have argued that it's just vast land without people. But
same way the plan to promise to remove fuel subsidy appear to have resonated with young people in the north.
Exactly. And because they have been suffering. The hardship is hitting hard. If he removes fuel subsidy and life goes back to what it used to be, I'm sure that's what they're expecting.
Okay.
Of course, Nigerians will be the happier. You know what Nigerians have gone through in the last 2 years? So he's actually taking this. I think this is very strategic for him if he's able to push it through. And I wonder the answer that the president and candidate of the APC would have for this one. Because, like I said, the borders have been opened.
Another point, former Vice President presidential candidate of the ADC, Atiku Abubakar, mentioned this. And if we look at it very well, because you need to read through the line, he said he will develop the ports in the east. Strategic comment.
That's the key
touching
one.
on the sensitivity of the...
Yes.
Because the Calabar port, if you've been to that axis in recent times, there's a lull in activities. The NPA is not really doing much. All the people...
And there's an allegation and accusation against President Tinubu that he has concentrated development of ports in the West.
In
Exactly.
Lagos State.
Obtaining a loan from a British firm and a British
Almost
firm to
780.
modernize ports in Lagos. And people were asking, have you forgotten the other ports elsewhere?
So, strategy in his comments.
You know,
Okay.
so you see, that one I think is even the more strategic one. Because one, you have the Aba port. There was Aba port. And you know that a lot of business passed through
Dry
Aba.
port.
Exactly. Yeah, whether dry or water port, let it be a port and let it be functional.
Okay.
And then you talk about Sapele port. Those were ports that were very, very
Harcourt,
active
Calabar.
in yes.
New
very
ones that
active.
deep sea ports that will spring up in Akwa Ibom, in Bayelsa.
Sapele Port was very active during the colonial era. That was one of the the known ones. And then Aba Port, you know the kind of manufacturing business that is done in Abia State. So these are people who have a lot to invest, especially
we have to move
as far
ahead
as
now.
export is involved.
Now, another issue where the presidency has reacted strongly is fuel subsidy removal. We shared videos, footages. We showed the president yesterday when he reacted to the promise or statement by Atiku Abubakar that he will remove fuel subsidy if he elected. You saw the countenance or discountenance on the face of the president. Some people say that pronouncement rattled the APC, as it were. Now, governors met in Abuja recently, Nigerian Governors Forum, and apart from that, the wider Nigerian Governors Forum meeting, APC governors also met with the president at Aso Rock Presidential Villa, Abuja. Now, when the governors met, the part of the issues that came up was cushioning the effects of economic hardship on Nigerians, especially on transport costs. And some may conclude, perhaps, the flurry of activities may be linked to that article's policy statement. But let's hear from
They are just waking up.
Yes. Let's hear from Governor Doye Diri, who spoke to journalists after the Nigerian Governors Forum meeting, where he made pronouncements about plans to go CNG and deepen reliance on that.
The forum received a presentation on the proposed National Affordable CNG Transit Program, NACTP, a state-led initiative designed to translate the lower operating cost of CNG into reduced transport fares for citizens. The proposal envisages state support for CNG vehicle conversions, fleets, and enabling infrastructure, alongside fair commitments from participating operators, with an indicative target of reducing passenger fares. Governors noted the initiative's potential to ease transportation costs and agreed on the need to further consider its financing and implementation framework.
So the ruling party and Nigerian governors showing some form of sensitivity after a lot of criticisms went their way, including from the president, who asked them to wet the ground and stop spending frivolously. They have realized that you need to manage spending and invest on ventures, programs, and projects that will really impact on the people.
It's a good thing that they're waking up. Of course, there are a few of them, like Governor Diri himself, who are working. If you look towards the south, you find more activity, more work than towards the north. That's not to, say that the northern governors are not working. But you see, it's good that...
It's just like the elephant and
yes,
the blind
if
man.
you see, if you remember what I said yesterday, that the president knows how to wake them up if he wants to do it. And we are seeing one of the ways. So now they are waking up. They are now realizing that they cannot continue doing what they want to do. And they must not jeopardize the president's presidential ambition.
Shola, they are also realizing that even with 16 APC governors, federal might that we saw in Osun, is not enough to save you. Many of them who had ran to APC because they thought federal might will guarantee them re-election.
Well, many governors are working across the country. Northern Nigeria, many of them, healthcare, education, try to tackle insecurity that they're plagued with. So it's a whole gamut. Whether the volume or the quality of work is sufficient is what the electorate in those states will determine. I looked at this meeting with the president, a meeting of APC governors. I don't think I saw Oji there. I don't think I saw Soludo. I don't think I saw, who is the other man who is in opposition? Yimakinde there. So these are things we need to also look at, whether they agree with those policies.
No, there was a Nigerian Governors Forum meeting first, and later the APC governors met with the president.
Yes, what was the attendance? We need to spotlight it so that we will know clearly. I know why I'm asking this question. It's very important, whether they are all on the same wavelength. But however, whatever they have all said, you know, this is what you can call something that hits them. That's why they are all running seemingly helter-skelter.
At least the media has done its work and is still doing its work, and will keep doing it.
Let's go for a break. When we come back, we'll welcome our guest, Bolaji Abdullahi, National Public Secretary, African Democratic Congress, ADC. Do stay with us.
The stories now break online. Don't miss anything from our real-time updates and exclusive content. Follow and participate in discussions on live TV studio programs to shape the narratives. Subscribe, engage, and share from AIT.live at AIT_online on X, AIT Online on Facebook, Official AIT Live on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads on YouTube. Stay connected with AIT. On air, online, on live.
People, politics, and power brings context and clarity to issues and events in governance, democracy, and development. On People, Politics, and Power, we feature people who shape the events and define the issues.
A lot of the agencies are still struggling with implementation of freedom of information.
The government should come. We need Nigeria to work.
We examine the interplay and interaction of politics with power and their impact on policies and the people.
It's about getting the system to deliver the kind of electoral outcome that people will be happy with.
People, Politics, and Power with Imoni Amarere.
Will low-performing agencies be held to account, or will the numbers fade after the headlines?
At 1 p.m. every Monday and Friday on AIT.
Thank you so much for staying with us. And Bolaji Abdullahi, National Publicity Secretary, African Democratic Congress, ADC, joins us now for perspectives on these burning issues, the one we have raised there and the ones that are also out there. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure.
Okay, let me ask this you're a communications person, former editor, the dynamics of getting, policy pronouncements across. You're not, unoblivious of this. You're here seated as the publicity secretary of the main opposition, ADC. We heard Atiku Abubakar, the candidate of your party, seemingly disowning his two main aides who speak for him. What you'll be saying here, would that be the position of the party or your presidential candidate?
Thank you very much. I think that's a big assumption you've made, which is that he disowned them. He didn't, I know what happened.
What happened?
There was no disowning going on. I speak for the African Democratic Congress, but Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, our presidential candidate, is not sitting opposite the party. the party and the candidates are moving in the same direction on all issues. You see, since this subsidy conversation started, you'll agree with me that it gets to a level that becomes technical.
Correct.
And when it gets technical, the honest and the courageous thing is to say, I don't know enough. You will agree, since this issue started, people have been trying to read up, trying to understand what is going on. So when people don't know enough, they tend to improvise or give their own views of viewpoint, which may not necessarily be the position of the party or the candidate. So when that happens, it's quickly corrected. So when that happened and the individual said what he said and it was corrected, it doesn't mean he disowned him. He's only corrected. He only corrected. He said, look, what he said did not represent the position. And I've seen it. I mean, I sit on top of that, and I've had cause to call up many of our colleagues, party members who go on TV, on radio, and to say, no, you can't say this. No, this is the. So we are also trying to standardize our own messaging, to ensure that everybody's on the same page. But the principle is that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, in line with the party agenda, said he will bring down the cost of living for Nigeria. And the frontline strategy for doing that is to introduce production subsidy in order to bring down the cost of fuel. That is the principle, and that has not changed.
That appears to have, ruffled some feathers, as we say. And we have seen him speak directly to these policy issues.
Yes.
Are we likely going to see more of that? Because this issue of spokesperson and the principal himself, selling his manifesto by himself to the people.
Yes. I mean, I must say that this is an exciting time. If I were not in ADC, I would still be proud of what is going on at this time. I mean, for as long as I can remember, we are kick-starting a campaign season with an issue that concerns majority of Nigerians. So I think all of us should be proud as Nigerians that this is what the conversation we're having. So we'll continue to have it, and perhaps more importantly, beyond even the idea that we are pushing forward as alternative. In the last 2 years or so, they will say, opposition, they are just criticizing. They never had any alternative ideas. They never had ideas of their own.
NRS chairman said it recently that there is no alternative.
That there is no alternative. And some of them actually came, I remember at an event, one of them said, we challenge the opposition to dare say they will bring back subsidy. Okay, we've said it. And we are very serious about it. So, but what we have seen, I was listening to you guys having conversation about this before I came in, is that the federal government of APC suddenly realized that the price of transportation needs to be brought down. They are now running helter-skelter. The president is blaming the governors the governors are saying, no, it's not also, you be thief, I no be thief, you be armed robber, I no, then they suddenly realize that they need to bring down the cost. So that's good. I mean, we should take the credit for that as opposition.
But your candidate at a point in time was against fuel subsidy. Now he has become an apostle of removal of fuel subsidy. At what point in time did he change his mind?
There are two ways to look at that. At the time that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar was saying he supported the removal of fuel subsidy, that was a different country entirely. That was a different country entirely.
It was just a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I say it's a different country. Because, 2 years ago, by April, I was just checking yesterday, by April 2023, if you earn 100,000 naira salary in April 2023, today you will need to earn 196,000 to be able to afford the same thing that you were able to afford before this government came.
Inflation.
So that's why I said it's a different country. So and
that's 100,000 and 190.
196,000.
Are you sure it shouldn't be more than that?
No, I mean that's what maybe it's more than that.
FBS
if you earn 35,000 naira, then you probably need to earn 72,000. So even what they are called minimum wage is not up to the 35,000 naira that people were earning before they came on board. So the point I'm making is that it was a different country, it was a different circumstance, social circumstance for Nigerians. right? So, and a leader responds to evidence. A leader does not hold on rigidly to a position. A leader responds to circumstance, responds to development, and responds to new evidence and adapt solutions to it. That is one. Two, if you recall, we've repeatedly said that, look, our party we are building a party that will be able to impose its authority on its candidates. If you read our manifesto, it is clearly stated. If you read the Orange Book that articulates the governance framework of the African Democratic Congress, it is clearly stated. A major economic principle of the ADC is that the interests and welfare of the citizens will determine the economic policies of ADC. That's number one. And Alhaji Atiku Abubakar signed to it when he came for screening.
Now you prioritize the welfare of citizens?
Exactly. So Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, one of the 3 presidential aspirants at the time, signed and swore to an affidavit that he will abide by that. So he was in a different party then. He's a different party now. So this is the party that believed that the welfare of citizens should be the guiding principle of any government.
What you're saying in effect is that this was not Atiku Abubakar's position, but ADC's position.
That's not true. I said before I talked about ADC, okay. I told you about him responding to different circumstances. So I'm giving you different reasons why this may lead to him changing his position from what happened to it. So I'm not giving you one position.
No, I mean this promise to remove fuel subsidy.
I said it's ADC's position as well as Alhaji Atiku
Both
Abubakar's
they share the
position.
same position.
Exactly. That's why I say we are on the same side.
Now, the ruling party is saying, oh, this is a hollow promise. Where are the details? How are you going to fund it? You're going to take us back to Egypt where this will happen, that will happen. Have you looked at the details? Your candidate talked about funding with subsidized crude to refineries and all that. But they're asking for more details.
You see, they don't know what they are talking about. Or they know they are just playing games. How much crude does Nigeria need in a day? We've done the arithmetic. You need between 300,000 to 200,000 barrels a day.
To be refined for local consumption?
Yeah, to be for local consumption. Because a barrel gives you like 70 liters of fuel. So, and if you multiply that, that means that from the guesstimate that Nigeria consumes like 33 million liters a day. So you need between 200,000 to 300,000 to 400,000 barrels of crude. Now, and you've heard them say that theft of crude has reduced by 98%, which means that we are almost 100% home and dry in terms of crude theft. Which also means that Nigeria is meeting the OPEC quota of 1.5 million barrels a day. So if you produce 1.5 million barrels a day, and sometimes it can get up to 1.8 million, 300,000 barrels for local consumption to give to, how does that kill you? They are not being honest.
Some of this crude have been forward sold.
Whatever is left for Nigeria. Okay, now let me give you an example. Recently, President Bola Tinubu signed an executive order giving incentive to oil companies of between $3 to $5 per barrel in tax relief, right? If they invest in the Nigerian oil industry. What is that? That is subsidy. The fact that it does not have a financial outlay does not mean it's not subsidy, because Nigeria is foregoing revenue that should normally go to NRS, right? So it is subsidy. So when they tell us that, that the difference between what we are proposing and what they have done is that in signing that executive order, the benefit is to incentivize investors in the sector. So the benefit goes to the investors. But what we are saying is that the benefit will go to the citizens of Nigeria, because like they have now recently discovered, if you bring down the cost of fuel, it will bring down the cost of transportation, and it will bring down the cost of other things. They just woke up to that realization, right? So if anybody is telling you that Nigeria, because they say it will cost us 19 trillion, did they say 19 trillion? That they say it will cost us to implement this program? I don't know where you've seen the numbers.
That's the CNG.
The federal, our proposal on production subsidy.
Their own calculation.
Their own calculation. Okay. I can calculate anything to give you 30 trillion to let you know that it's not possible. They are just lying.
All right.
They know they have messed up, and they know Nigerians have realized that they've messed up.
Okay, one of the main reasons given for the removal of fuel subsidy was the huge corruption in that system. And the fact that the benefits of subsidy was not getting into the hands of Nigerians as intended, but into the wrong hands. Now he has, your candidate says he's going to concentrate on local refineries to, maybe bring more, revamp the ones that we have been having TAM for a long time. Now, is that enough to check the oil cabal in this country?
You see, is there any policy that is risk-free? There is none in my experience. There is no policy that is risk-free. The most important governance challenge in all this is to identify the risk and mitigate them as much as you can. Asking whether Nigerians saw the benefit of the old subsidy. Of course, the reason they are asking for it to be brought back was because life was better for them at the time. So that was the benefit, regardless of what other hanky-panky was going on. And if you lack the capacity to discipline corrupt people, to catch corrupt people, you don't make the people pay for the crimes of a few people, because what you are doing, because of your failure to punish this so-called oil cabal, you know them. So is that you are making the entire country pay for the crimes of a few rich people. And we are saying no. And the interesting thing in our proposal, and there are different countries doing it. We see in doing our analysis, we found out, you know how much the United States spending this year to subsidize production of fossil fuel? $35 billion. And they've done this for
even shale oil.
Oh, they've done this for over 100 years. And they are still doing it. If they are not doing it, price of gas in the gasoline will probably
that's their way of
they'll probably be selling it for $15, yes, right? And you see, different countries have the United Kingdom, Saudi Arabia, they all subsidize production. And when I say US subsidized to $35 billion, I'm not even talking about what the IMF call implied subsidy. There are other forms of subsidy. So this is not necessarily about taking money and giving to oil companies. So, and in addition to that, it's also the fact that when situation gets tough, every country in the world recognizes the need to act, to intervene, to keep price stable. When this crisis started in the Middle East, this Strait of Hormuz, Iran, US thing, almost more than 30 countries came forward and they supported, they controlled the price. They introduced different kind of intervention to control the price to make sure that it remained affordable to the people. Our government did not bite an eyelid. They didn't care. Now, because the ADC and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar are saying that they will introduce subsidy, they're now running all helter-skelter, introducing $1 billion social intervention. So these people, and sorry, one more point I would like to make. I forgot that when my sister asked me about Alhaji Atiku Abubakar changing his position. I'm surprised you people keep asking Alhaji Atiku Abubakar changed his position. Why are you not asking me about why Bola Tinubu changed his position? In 2012,
when they get here.
We've dealt with that extensively.
We highlighted,
we played the videos.
2012,
even when the protest was on. Yeah. So when they come, we ask them, now you're here, we're asking you. Another thing we're asking you is, our fears is when this subsidy, how sincere the local refinery owners will be in ensuring that your intention is translated to lower prices. Will you have the will to make sure that these prices are down? More importantly, our problem in the past have been smuggling. When this product is cheap for Nigerians, your candidate has said, open the borders. As we open them, will majority of these products, not like in the past, be smuggled out of the country?
Don't forget our presidential candidate used to be a senior customs officer. Don't forget.
That's true.
You know, yeah, so he knows what he's talking about more than most people, right? That is one. Two, the benefits of opening the borders outweighs the risk. Nigeria is confronting serious security challenges today. And if you remember, I think it was on your program that I came and I said, one of the framework for the ADC framework for tackling insecurity includes regional cooperation. The circumstance that led Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger out of the ECOWAS was irregular, was wrong, and it should not have happened. It was part of the mismanagement of this APC administration. So what Alhaji Atiku is saying now, which is ADC, is saying that we will bring these countries back into ECOWAS. And that way we'll be able to develop a common protocol for policing our collective borders. So when you do that, then it is easier for you to monitor. Some of these things is lack of will rather than the capacity to do it. That is number two. Number three, some of these countries are also developing their own local capacity and exploration. They are also discovering oil in their country. So it's not going to be as lucrative as it used to be. Many of them are also discovering local capacity. So you see, when you don't want to accept that your policy or your idea was wrong, you do everything to discredit an alternative idea. But discrediting an idea is not an alternative idea. So they keep telling us, highlighting the risks. But they have not been able to say in substantial terms that this is wrong.
But highlighting the risks helps everybody to have a perspective to the issue.
No, but the risk is the reason they are saying you should not do it. Do you understand? You highlight the risks in order to perfect your system, your implementation. But they are using it as a reason for you not to do it. And that is wrong. And that is where paralysis comes in. If we highlight the risk, it will help us to know what to guide against. But if they are saying that it is the reason we should not do it, then it's something else.
So the ADC, did you align with your candidate's position? The pronouncement he made only yesterday about this border, we've gone into it looking at few, petrol probably getting, taken outside the borders, the one for local consumption and all. But the bigger issues around the border, because Alhaji Atiku is talking about the economic implications, is your party and your candidate, are you looking at the security implications?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean security implication?
People infiltrating. The current government has kept on shouting that weapons from Libya, from so many places have flowed in. Your candidate was in the customs in his early career. What are his plans for this border?
Okay, let me ask you a question. Look at the terrorism index across the West Africa sub-region. Just isolate the West African countries and look at terrorism index. Why is Cameroon doing so well? Why is Chad in the same Sahel? Why are they doing so well?
In curbing fighting terrorism.
Yeah, exactly. Why are they not? Nigeria ranked 4th in the last ranking. Maybe Chad was number 16 or so.
But Chadians are amongst the people terrorizing Nigeria and infiltrating.
Do you have evidence for that? That's what the government is saying. Do you have evidence for that?
There is evidence now.
So the point is that there is more to benefit from opening borders and cooperating. Because it's fire hose principle. God forbid if Amechi's house is on fire and you have fire hose and you don't bring it out, the fire will spread to your house now because you are neighbors. So when you have fire hose, you don't wait for Amechi to say, please give me your fire hose. You bring it out, not because of him, but because of yourself. So evidence shows that Nigeria's neighborhood, and that is why across decades, Nigeria will always tell you that the centerpiece of Nigerian foreign policy is the West Africa sub-region.
Yeah.
And that's why what the late President Buhari called the concentric circle, right? You start from this West Africa sub-region, then the Africa, then the world. So there is nothing to benefit from shutting your border. You can't afford it. When President Donald Trump said he was going to build a wall against what happened? He didn't build any wall. So it doesn't make sense. In the first place, we got involved in a battle that did not concern us. Regime change in Niger, how is that your problem? How's that your problem?
Yeah, it's part of ECOWAS, and Nigeria says we support ECOWAS.
Every country thinks about his national interest first. Every country will put its national... Okay, now let me tell you how wrong-headed. Because you remember at a point President Tinubu said he was going to invade Niger Republic. How arrogant.
But we've got past that.
No, it's not. It's part of, you see, it's a journey. We didn't get here overnight. It's a journey, right? So, have you did he not realize elementary geography that when they divided Nigeria, when the colonialists divided Africa's borders, our people are spread horizontally,
correct,
but they divided the borders vertically. It's the same people that are in Katsina, in Sokoto, that are in Niger Republic. They are cousins. They are cousins.
I saw that.
So when you attack, when you say you are going to attack, you are attacking your own people. So the people on your own side of the border will say, are you serious? These are our cousins. They probably eat breakfast here and eat lunch on the other. They don't care about these artificial lines. So when you say you are sealing your borders, now you are denying millions of people opportunities to trade. Go to Sokoto. I think it's called Ilela. Ilela.
The border town.
It's one of the biggest produce market in West Africa sub-region. I've read a couple of studies regarding to that. So when you say you are shutting the borders, what you are doing, you are impoverishing. You see,
but let's look at it for instance, because I'm asking this question because your candidate, a former deputy director in customs, before they changed the whole designation and all, that's quite high, young age, 43, 44, when he got into that position. Years later, are you saying that when you open the borders, some of the goods that have customs duty, property is not paid and all those, is that what is going to be?
We cannot use the shortcomings of your system. If your system is suboptimal, that is not a reason to dismiss a policy. What it needs that you up your game. I mean, we know Nigeria's borders are porous, but when you recognize this, what you do is to strengthen the institution. It's like saying that, one, do you know the amount of small arms and light weapons that are in this country today in the hands of non-state actors? How did they get in, despite that the border is closed? The borders are closed. How did they get in? Do you know the amount of drugs in this country today? Illicit drugs. So how did they get in?
But that's not to downplay what the NDLA and the customs are doing at the moment.
I'm not downplaying anything. I'm just saying that they are actually in a position to support they are only in a position to understand this better than us. The NDLA is in a position to understand that despite what they are doing, there is still so much drugs in this country. Nigeria is more or less awash with drugs. That's number one. Number two, small arms. How are they getting in? They catch one truck here, there, but everybody knows that Nigeria is under all these weapons that terrorists and bandits are using. Where are they coming from?
Okay.
So we are saying that what the proposal of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is one thing. The challenge of policing the borders is another thing. So what you need to do is to recognize the need to better police your border while you do what you need to do. You can't isolate yourself.
Okay. Now, last question, brief as it may be. Is your candidate and your party targeting northern votes?
Targeting?
Northern votes.
Northern votes.
Lay more emphasis. Yes.
Well, I mean, as it plays out, our candidate is the only candidate from the north, but he doesn't see himself as a northern candidate. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is a nationalist. I mean, he has proven that over the years. He's at home in Ekiti, as he's in Anambra,
and also in Osun,
especially in Osun. And he has always done well in Osun in all the elections. Yes. He has always done well in Osun. Maybe that's a factor. So he's not a northern candidate in the sense, but the point is, whether it's the north, if you look at, since we've started this conversation, Nigerians saying, yes, we need to, at the beginning we were hesitating, we'll revisit subsidy. Because the most important point we are missing is that the subsidy itself is a strategy. The bigger problem is bringing down the cost of living. And that's what ADC is saying, and we are happy that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has frontlined this policy for the party. So we are confident that this is what we need to do, and we are working every day. I'm not an economist, I'm not an oil and gas expert, but as policy experts, as politicians, we know that what we need to do is to continue to talk to Nigerians and make them see that, convince them that we mean business, and we do mean business.
We'll have to thank him so much now, because we are really out of time. We'll have to take our minutes. Thank you so much, Bolaji Abdullahi, National Public Secretary, ADC, for joining us today.
Thank you very much. My pleasure always.
We'll hear from you now as we read some of the emails you sent to our platform.
The first one is from Comrade Monday Ame from Abuja. He says, I commend Mr. President and the Nigerian Governors Forum for their initiative to take immediate measures to bring down the cost of transportation in their states, with a strong focus on leveraging the cost benefits of CNG and electric vehicles. Even more gratifying is the President's approval for the additional rollout of 500 CNG refueling stations nationwide, in addition to the 500 stations ordered earlier in the year, which brings it to 1,000 stations across the country. If this move is sincerely implemented by the federal government and the subnationals, it will cushion the effect of suffering of the ordinary Nigerian and will go a long way in addressing rising inflation. Finally, in addition to these measures, I wish to call on the President to consider a further reduction in the price of fuel and to make conversion to CNG free for motorists and civil servants. Second one is from Aniefiok Ntia from Songwater, Ogun State. Aniefiok says, Tinubu's order to governors to reduce the cost of transportation this season. This sounds like one using perfume on bad-smelling clothes, thereby making it worse. We need a permanent solution towards easing the high cost of transportation now in the country, and not only temporary reduction in transportation fare during election campaign season. There's no country that does not subsidize some of the things used by the citizens. Nigerians are suffering now under this administration more than before, and we cannot continue this way. Just yesterday, President Tinubu and the governors moved to fix the crisis in APC ahead of 2027 election. Yet the same president cannot fix the economy and hunger in the land, majorly recorded under his administration. Politics should be about the people and not the elites. Let the poor masses breathe.
Okay, this one from Oko Chukuka, who has written in from Abuja, the Nigerian capital. He talks about football. The resignation of the president of the Nigerian Football Federation, Mr. Ibrahim Gusau, and the General Secretary, Mohammed Sanusi, over corruption allegations is a right step in the right direction. It's unfortunate that despite the immense financial support by government and well-meaning Nigerians to the football house, our national teams were unable to qualify for some major regional, continental, and global competitions in the recent past. Football is a strong unifying factor of Nigerians and should not be treated lightly by its stakeholders. With this resignation of the NFF officials, it is expected that there will be comprehensive reform of the football house in order to address the long-standing institutional, governance, and developmental challenges confronting Nigerian football to reset it in the right direction. Also, despite the resignation of the officials, unfettered investigation should be carried out on the corruption allegations against them, and any of them found wanting should be made to face the full weight of the law to act as deterrent to others. That's it.
Thank you so much for sending the mails, and that's all from us here for the day and for the week. Keep a date with us next week on behalf of my colleagues Uju Eje and Shola Jasmine. My name is Amechi Anapue.